since we already started talking about Charlie Kirk, I just wanted to tap into this one more time because, last week I was kind of in a rush and I didn't get to talk about a few things. And, just a little catch up, Charlie Kirk had, he had his, or they had his memorial. And, I didn't watch it because that ain't none of my business. I'm not interested in celebrating the life of people like that. But the clips that I saw and what I heard, let's just put it this way. There were pyrotechnics. Charlie Kirk's wife, his widow of less than 2 weeks now, 3 weeks, walked out to pyrotechnics. I mean, it wasn't a memorial service so much as a rally. Let's keep it real. A rally for the MAGA base. And it was something else. And I just, the thing that really is so interesting to me about this whole Charlie Kirk thing, aside from what we've already discussed, is how much is coming out from this experience, right? It's like his death has opened the closet doors and so many skeletons are falling out. Like we found out about this whole like weirdo groiper, incel, alt-right, transmaxing, BNWO. Remember I told you to look that up last week, the Black New World Order. Let me see if I can find that clip so I could play it for you so you can know. Because if you didn't look it up, let me see. I might be able to find that clip where the Black New World Order is explained. Oh, here it is. I think this is it. Let's see.
Yeah, this is like another thing that people don't realize about groypers. Groypers, and like not just groypers, but like just a very large subsect of conservative right-wing people absolutely fetishize Black masculinity. So because I am a white trans woman who does sex work, I attract a certain kind of audience. Want to specify an audience that I absolutely do everything I can to make sure that like I snuff out and like I push away from my pages because I want absolutely nothing to do with them. And that is BNWO. BNWO stands for Black New World Order. It is a fetish promoted almost exclusively by white guys who think that like the natural order of things is that white men are it's so weird that sexually white men are inherently subservient to Black men in terms of sex and thus need to reject their masculinity and transition into women so that they can please Black men. Yeah, this is like another thing that people do.
Okay. Did you hear what that they need to reject because I mean, it doesn't, it's like just even repeating it back, you feel like a psychopath. So their logic is that Black men are sexually superior to them. So in response to that, their job is to make themselves subservient in order to essentially worship Black dick, to make themselves available to Black peen. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. I can't take it. It's making my brain hurt. This is the world we live in, y'all. And this is some of the stuff that's come out since Charlie Kirk's death. It's like Charlie Kirk was like a seal on a bottle that was about to explode. And as soon as that seal was removed, all this stuff started coming out. We find out about the groypers. We find out about the internal war going on between the MAGA base and between the alt-right and those who think that, people like Charlie Kirk were not right enough. We're not extreme enough. We're finding out about, then we have Candace Owens here, who's now, making an Israel connection to Charlie Kirk and pulling, like, I don't follow her either. She another messy hoe. But, I keep my ear to the ground though. I keep my, I'll be listening. And, she was, talking about stuff and pulling out Israeli connections and just all kind of crazy stuff coming out. And it just speaks to what I mentioned previously on this podcast, which is that when we look back on this time, one of the names we're going to call this era is the Great Unveiling, the Great Revelation, because all of the skeletons are coming out of the closet. 2 weeks ago, we had no idea that there was this whole underground world of alt-right, racist white men who are transitioning into women because they hate women, but they still want access to women. So they groom other dudes in their community to become women, and that some of these men are have a fetish for black. I mean, and this is all under the umbrella of incredible racism. Like, it's so twisted and ass backwards. None of us knew that even existed. And all this, and of course, Charlie Kirk is just one aspect, right? We have all these other things, the Epstein files, right? We still waiting. Some more files were released. Now we have who was mentioned in it. According to Politico, it was Peter Thiel, who was the big billionaire who's funding a lot of the MAGA movement, and who basically is J.D. Vance's backer. He's now been mentioned in the Epstein files. We now have Steve Bannon, who was, we know that dude who's another one of Trump's boys. He's in the list. And who was the other one? Was it, Elon Musk. Elon Musk, which is ironic, right? Because Elon just a couple months ago was calling out Donald Trump for being on the list. And he's been now mentioned in the Epstein files. It's like, so we have the Epstein files coming out. We have all of these little, all these lawsuits, the sexual assault lawsuits that have been happening since 2024. P. Diddy's situation, like all that coming out. And we're realizing that, and then not just think about the Epstein situation, right? It's not just about Epstein. We had that Democratic lawmaker come out and talk about how the government, high-ranking government officials were involved with Jeffrey Epstein, talking about how it also involves international governments. This is so much bigger than just, some weird dude who was trafficking people in Florida, right? It's so much bigger. And then you have things like like I said, the Diddy situation coming out. I mean, there's just so much stuff is coming out. There's a lot of trafficking victims are starting to speak out too. And that's one of the issues, right? We talked about believing victims. And, one of the reasons why we, aside from the fact that this is, we live in a rape culture that supports rapists and supports pedophiles and protects predators, right? Aside from that, we also live in a world where victims are continually in danger because the people who are victimizing them are some of the people at the top. There is a trafficking victim that came out recently, and she's been trying to tell her story about how, and this is her words, this is what she's alleging, that she was a victim of ritual sexual abuse and trafficking. And who was the one that was running it or putting her into it? Her daddy. And who was her daddy, or is her daddy, because he's still alive? He was the chief of police of some city in New Jersey. She's accusing her chief of police daddy of being one of the heads of this trafficking ring that she was forced into. You're gonna have to look it up. I don't recall her name. I just, I gave you enough facts. You're gonna have to look it up. But there's more people coming out like this. And one of the main reasons why we don't, people say, well, why don't they just come out and say stuff? Because their lives are in danger. Just like that Democratic lawmaker said, this goes to the top. Who are you gonna call when the people you're supposed to call are the people involved?